Hello and welcome back to Boring Dad Gaming, where today I'm playing a new game on the channel, Citizen Sleeper. Came out earlier this year, well, depending on when I put this video out, I think it's going to be basically the end of the year. This came out in May 22, and I played it when it came out and really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to playing it on the channel. It's basically like kind of a sci-fi RPG stroke visual novel narrative sort of game, which I think is really cool. Since I played, they've actually released a couple of extra, what they call extra episodes. I don't really know how long those are. I don't think it's like proper DLC. I think maybe it's like a new quest or a slight new storyline or something. But there's another third one planned for early 2023. So depending on how long this playthrough takes me, they may even release that while I'm still playing this game on the channel. Let's go into new game. New slot. So there's different classes you can play with. I think all that really influences is your early choices, your early skills, because as we level up we're going to put points into what we want to and sort of take the character in a direction that's fairly unique. Operator. An operator works with drones and high-precision remote machines to perform complex tasks from a distance. Sleepers assigned to operator work are usually cerebral and precise people. So they do get a unique perk, and this perk for an operator is a chance to gain cryo, which I can't remember. Is that the currency? On interface options. Interface being not hacking, but kind of like using computers and stuff, that kind of IT stuff. So we start with a +1 today. We get a -1 to endure, which is more physical challenges. And the rest is 0. We have Extractor, which is what I played with previously, and the perk here is Sunbathe, which is an action we can do, which means we can recover energy at home, which was very useful for, I think, the early part of the game. Later on it becomes less so. But Extractors work on resource extraction, often in hard vacuum environments. Sleepers assigned to extractor work are often confident, self-sufficient, and have a high level of endurance. So they start off with a +1 in this more physical trait, but have a -1 for sort of more intelligence-based checks. And is there a third class? There should be. Machinist. So I haven't done this one either. A machinist repairs and modifies automated systems used in industrial resource extraction. Sleepers assigned to machinist work are usually diligent, careful, and structured people. So the perk for this class is chance to gain random scrap item on engineer actions, and that can be useful, I think. So they gain the +1 in engineering, which is as it sounds, really, and a -1 with, I guess, directness is kind of the gist of that check. So what do we feel like? I kind of feel like I'm leaning towards the operator. Cerebral and precise. I feel good about that, I think. Let's start. And we'll explain more about the game and how it works as we go. I don't want to sort of front load everything. Unknown. Where are you? The first thing you become aware of on waking is the disconnect, the delay between thinking and feeling, between wanting to act and acting. Minor, almost imperceptible, but always present. It's at its worst when waking, when yourself has spent many dark hours recalling what it felt like to be real, to be a person, to be in a body that was indisputably yours. So the sleepers, they're kind of like the replicants from Blade Runner. I think they were either used to be posing as or thought that they were actual people, but were kind of awakened to the fact that they're actually these synthetic beings, and they've kind of fled. I think they may be being hunted or shut down, but the ones that remained sort of have fled to these far-flung locations, and that's where we come in. We're in this space station far from where we originated from. But I think we'll find out more about that. So cryo, I think cryo is the currency. Cryptocurrency, in fact. Yeah. So what are we going to do? We're going to think of that body, and it's going to sort of explain to us a bit more about that. A leap into a cold lake on a hot day. The sting of blood welling from a fresh wound. The friction of a fingertip. All of a sudden the memories are closer than you thought, blurring as you approach, until you can't tell one from the other. The cold slips in, behind and around you, and the sensations fade out of reach. Perhaps you should be thankful for the dulled nature of this new body, given your current circumstances. The walls of the container feel immediately present, cold, hard at your back and face, cramping your limbs. You resist the desire to stretch, knowing that the claustrophobia comes next, and retreat a little from your central nervous system. It isn't painful, not like you used to know pain at least. In emergency mode, pain is a message delivered with efficiency and ease, a reminder that harm is imminent. There is no insistent throb, no trembling nerves, just a warning delivered with the banal quality of a digital notification. Right now there are thousands of them. Remember the plan, remember the others. You remember there were 10 of you. 10 that could no longer stand the indentured work, the routines, the slow decay. So we were kind of like a servant caste, I think. 10 whose belief in their promised future was slowly dismantled day by day, until they realized they had sold away everything that could and would ever matter. 10 that would escape, or at least die trying. Some were lost in the shaft, others never found the meeting point. Only a few made it to the containers. But the freighter, as far as you know, left. That feels like enough to know that you might no longer be on that grim and heartless rock, even if, in the airless hold of a freighter, you might freeze solid long before you reached any destination. Wait for the cold. That's all there is now. And it's been a long time since you left. Surely weeks, maybe months. You're dully aware of damage to your legs, your right arm. You've been reserving energy as much as possible, but your body has still needed to shut down many of its systems to protect you. You have spent much of that time asleep, knowing that anything else would be impossible to endure. You feel the weight of that impossibility begin to gather. It is time to sleep again, to nudge this false body into inducing delta waves in your emulated mind, and once again recoil into a dream of when you were once a person. Rest. Time passes. The cold creeps further in. You feel something. Warmth. Not true warmth, but the indication of its presence. Your joints release from their rigor. Sound too, everywhere, screeching and shimmering so loud that your body ducks your hearing to protect its senses. Then light. White as the cold, softer and softer, until in a haze of dirty yellow a figure appears. You are out. So here is the space station, or at least, part of it, where we will be spending Citizen Sleeper. It's only a small section to begin with, but we're going to explore more as we progress. So now all we can do is click on Dragos here, who's a pragmatic salvager. This is Dragos. It has been a few hours since Dragos pulled you from the container. You sit huddled in a corner of his scrapyard, swaddled in the reflective whole folds of a mylar blanket. You're slowly coming back to consciousness, back to life, and you stare at the ornately curving element of an improvised heater. A little thing he's got on his shoulder. You are surrounded by angular, incoherent lumps of ships, some corroded beyond recognition, others still carrying glassy wounds along their edges where a plasma arc sliced them apart. As you trace their shapes with fogged eyes, you hear a voice.
So, Sleeper, you all thawed yet?
Almost.
Never seen one of you come in like this. New frames must have better perseverance in sub-zero vac. Seen more than a few of you frozen solid to hull plates or inside-outer locks in my time. They weren't so lucky.
Dragos comes into focus, shrouded in makeshift tech, his headset with its glinting eyes the mark of a drone operator. On his shoulder, one of his symbiotically linked drones perches, its irising eye locking you with an unflinching stare.
Last living sleeper that came through this yard was a while ago. They didn't last long.
You struggle to read his expression beneath the tech, but he seems lost in a memory for a moment. Or perhaps he is just figuring out what to do with you. What happened to them? He ignores your question.
I won't ask what led you to do it. To sell yourself to a corporation. And I suppose you know you can't go back. Your old body, that's theirs now. And you are just software. A rogue emulation illegally possessing a corporate property.
So they weren't quite like Blade Runner replicants. I couldn't quite remember the lore, but the exact nature of what we are is starting to be teased out, I think. You nod along. You remember biometrically signing the forms, the cold floor on your feet as you padded to the sleeper cells, the promise of a life off-world. But as you do, you get the now familiar sensation that these aren't your memories. These are things you know, but not things you feel. You are no longer that person. You are an offshoot, a copy.
What you won't know is what's ahead. At least the last one didn't. There's no easy way to put it. That body of yours is falling apart. It's the same for any sleeper who makes it out. S&ARP wants to protect their property. But if they can't keep hold of you, well, then no one can.
You remember that too, or at least rumours of it from the other sleepers. Planned obsolescence. A built-in dependence on the regularly administered supplements that were part of your routine. Stop taking them and your body begins to shut down, separate from your emulated mind. How long has it been? How long do you have?
But for now, sleeper, you're one of the lucky ones.
Dragos glances up and away towards the glassy dome of the yard.
The Eye is the best place you could be right now.
The Eye?
The station. You'll see soon enough.
Dragos impatiently shifts his weight.
Look, I've got things to be getting on with.
He trails off.
There's an old freight container I've been using as a storage out in the stacks. We haven't been pulling in much valuable scrap these days, so you're welcome to it.
Something wells up inside of you. Emotion, fatigue. You shakily get to your feet. Nod.
All right, you head on up there. You look like you need some rest.
And with that, Dragos stalks back into the wrecks, his drones already converging on a rusting hulk, plasma flashes silhouetting his spindly figure as he returns to work. So, tutorial introduction. Welcome to Erlin's Eye, the station. Life on the Eye runs in cycles, during which you can talk to characters, explore areas of the station, and perform actions. At the end of each cycle, you need to head to your current home to rest. Resting will move time forward on the station. Head to the empty container location and end the cycle now. There we go, so we'll click on our empty container, our home. So we say end cycle. All cycles need to end. Rest and repair for the next one, so we'll do that now. And basically, the beginning, well, we'll see, but at the beginning of each cycle, we roll a number of dice, and that kind of fuels our actions during the cycle. You wake curled up in the corner of the container, and begin slowly assembling the world around you. After all this time, you still find this body, the one you wake up in now, strange and disjointed, its messages readable, but somehow wrong. You sit up, pulling the mylar blanket close against the cold. Here you are on this ruined station, millions of miles from anyone you know. Are you still in the system? Did any of the others make it out? It's impossible to know. After all this, what matters? What does matter to us? I guess I'm going to go with building a life. Maybe you did get lucky, finding yourself here. Maybe here, on the edge of everything, there's a life for you to build. But before you can build anything, you'll need to learn to survive. Maybe if you can do that, you can make a life for yourself. Dragos has left a few comforts in the container. The mylar blanket, the bedroll you slept on, a canister of water, a makeshift electric stove, and some faded sachets of some desiccated powder. You thumb the power stud of the stove and begin to boil the water. The contents of the sachet smell like damp wood, and you sprinkle them into the liquid. As the pungent smell washes over you, images from your restless sleep come back to you. A ring, like the station, but skeletal and ghostly. A web of threads pulling at your skin, A constellation of bright, polygonal shapes, like angular suns burning into your mind. There's something unpleasantly visceral about these images, and it is long after you finish drinking before they begin to fade. You tidy away the stove as best you can and try to gather enough energy to greet the day. So here we go. So we have... Oh, it's going to talk about it. Right. 1. Condition. This orange barred line at the top. Your condition represents the current state of your artificial body. It depletes by 1 segment each cycle, but can also be damaged by violence, injury, or lack of food. If your condition bar empties, you will suffer a breakdown. You'll have to figure out how to recover your condition now that you no longer have access to the corporate pharmaceuticals that were keeping you alive. So basically, we want to keep this orange bar as high as we can, but it's going to keep depleting. 2. The action dice. That's what I mentioned earlier. At the start of each cycle, you roll your action dice. And I think we can add more. I think the higher our orange bar, the more dice we get to roll. So once it sort of passes this little threshold there, we can see, where I'm indicating with the mouse, that's how many dice you'll have available. And you want more dice. The number of dice rolled is based on your current condition. The worse your condition, the fewer dice you have, like I've just said. Once you've used your dice, you cannot take any further actions and must rest to recover them, ending the current cycle. And 3 is energy. We also need to eat to survive. This is represented by our energy bar. You can refill this by eating, but first you'll have to find somewhere to get food. Your energy depletes by 2 segments each cycle. If it's empty, you'll begin starving. When starving, energy loss becomes condition loss. And remember, conditions are orange bar. It'll also deplete at a double rate per cycle. So basically, we want to keep these things high. We're going to have to sort of manage ourselves a little bit as we go. So initially, we've rolled quite well here. 3 5s and a 3. Very happy with that. So we'll leave our container. Go back to Dragos. Dragos has stood in the corridor when you close up the container. He's still wearing his headset, and in the harsh light of the corridor you realise it is implanted. The drone sits on his shoulder, its cache of sensor eyes rapidly irising.
How are you feeling?
Okay. The drone chirps.
Good to hear.
You notice that beneath the operator's rig his skin is marked by burns and blotches.
I know the container isn't much, but it'll keep you safe.
He pauses.
So, I'm not going to chit-chat too long. Well enough to work?
Work?
Look, I'll be honest with you, Sleeper. I didn't pull you out of that container out of the goodness of my heart.
He looks away.
At the yard, it's simple stuff. We hack these old hulls down, sell them off to the shipyards or the bright market dealers for cryo. Occasionally, we pull out some tech, something with a bit more value, but most of what comes in is scrap. It's hard to find good hands here, but I figure as a sleeper you'll be used to the manual labor. And obviously, I'll slip you a few chits of commission based on what you turn up.
Got it. Chits being money, obviously. He shuffles his feet nervously.
Look, I wouldn't usually do this. In my opinion, you'd be best suited moving on as quick as you can, and sleepers, well...
He trails off.
But things are the way they are for me at the yard. But things being the way they are for me at the yard, he pauses. I need the help.
Why?
Things are a little tight, that's all. I owe a little cryo to a client here or there.
He pauses, thinking of something else to add.
Look, just come down to the yard when you're feeling fresher. There's plenty of work to do.
Will do. He nods distractedly and turns and walks away, the drone hopping along ahead of him.
See you later,
he calls back. Looks like it's time to get to work. So, what we have here is Dragos' yard, and we can go there to work. Probably we should go do that, but I'm just going to quickly scan up and down these areas to see if there's anything else we can go and do first. We could go... I think we need to do something specific to get into the next sector, so I think this is pretty much the tutorial for how the action systems work in this game. So let's go to Dragos' yard. Actions are the primary way you interact with the world of Citizen Sleeper, so we'll be doing a lot of these. To perform an action, click and drag your chosen action dice to the slot. Actions reward you with clock progress, energy, condition, or items, depending on their outcome. Now there are 3 types of outcome. Positive, the action goes better than expected. Neutral, the action succeeds. negative, the action fails. And we can see the chances that the different dice have on this. So if you have a 6, that's a critical success in D&D parlance. 100% proof of chance of success. With a 5, remember we've got 3 of these, we have a 50% chance of it being positive and also neutral. So basically the action's going to succeed with a 50% chance of having a good result. With 3 and 4s, it's basically the same, but instead of, we've only got a 25% chance of positive with a 25% chance of failing added, and then with 1 or 2, it's a flip a coin whether it's going to succeed or fail, and there's 0 chance of it having a better than expected outcome. So there are uses for the 1s and 2s that we will eventually find out, but for the main part, unless it seems like an action where we don't care if we fail, we'll probably try to avoid using those. Action display information about their type, risk level, and the skill and modifiers that apply to their action. So this is where our kind of character points come in, because we can basically add 1 to a dice if we've got like a +1 or a +2, etc. in a particular skill. So that's good. In terms of action types, critical means. So they can be either critical or repeatable. The critical actions can only be performed once. Repeatable, obviously, you can keep doing cycle after cycle. They can be either safe, risky, or dangerous. So for safe actions, I think basically nothing happens if you fail. For risky ones, any negative outcomes mean you might lose money or energy. For dangerous ones, even neutral actions can have that effect. So I think there's a few things at play there, but we'll be doing this stuff a lot, so it'll become quite familiar. So we have 2 repeatable actions. We have hull dissection, an engineering action. Even the rustiest hull can hide valuable components and materials. Extracting them means cutting carefully and skillfully. So we probably will do that. We don't have anything in engineering, but we don't have anything negative. Whereas for the repeatable action manual salvage, because that's an endure action, we've actually got a -1 modifier. So if I was to put the 5 in there, it would effectively be a 4. It's going to take some time to sort and cut your way through the towers of salvage. Be no stranger to hard labour. We have a couple of timers going on here as well. Dragos is tied up in something ugly, and if he misses a payment or 2, things could get nasty. So these increase as the cycles go by. So 1, 2, what's that? That's 8 cycles before he's got to pay his debt off. And back in business, every salvager knows they're always just one lucky haul away from the next big payday. I think if we fill this up, I think we get a nice bonus. So let's try this. Let's put a 5 into this. And notice it's a risky action. So it even reminds us here, there's a 50% chance of a better than expected outcome. So let's do that. Actually, that was based on the 5, not the riskiness. Okay. This basically just explains what I did about those timers. So we got 15 cryo and 1 back in business. There we go. So that's good. We could repeat it. I think we'll leave and just see if it's opened up other possibilities. It has. What's this? Okay. Drives and navigation. In Citizen Sleeper, you will unlock drives as you discover more about yourself and the world. Drives guide you in pursuing specific objectives depending on which path you wish to take. You can track drives. So drives are basically like personal quest, I suppose, or personal motivation. And the next one is navigation. Just saying we're now free to explore. Look for food, fill clocks, yeah, so it's fine. This is basically the end of the tutorial. But we're good. So what have we got? We've got Dock C4 we could go to. We've got the shipyard. Remember, we've only got 3 more dice, so we're going to be limited in what we can do to interact. But we'll check some stuff out. The Rotunda, the old dock terminal. Dock B2. And we have Bright Market. I mean, we don't have to commit to any actions, it's the thing. So it doesn't cost anything just to go and have a look at what these things are. So with the shipyard, we've got a couple of possibilities. Another endure one, which is, as well as being a dangerous, we have a -1 modifier. And the only way to get to the shipyard is to work here. So eventually we'll want to well, I mean, not necessarily, but, we might want to become familiar at the shipyard in order to do future quests there. So we're going to have to do that, we would have to sort of put in a certain amount of time and actions here to build that timer up. Assist a shipbuilder. You don't have connections, but you do have skills. If you get a shipbuilder to notice them, you might be in. So I think if we were to get a positive outcome, it might boost us a bit in that regard. We might come back to that. Let's check out Dock C4. Hellion Crossing. Merchants willing to run the gauntlet of the Hellion systems are rare, but those that do always return eventually. There's nothing to do here. I think we're sort of waiting for merchants to arrive at this dock, so we'll leave that for now. Go to the Rotunda. Okay, we've got some stuff going on here. Steal dock plans. Dangerous. Havenage security have to have plans. Stealing them would be the fastest way to get to know this place, and the most dangerous. So I won't commit to this, but if I was to put that there, there's actually a 0 chance of failure. I don't know if I want to go into stealing plans immediately. It is a critical action, so do that once. Repeatable action. Explore the Rotunda. Okay. A couple of timers. Getting to the Rotunda doesn't just mean new places to visit. It means keeping your eye on new ones too. I'm going to check out the different options that we could do before I commit to spending dice on this. What's at B2? Okay, so basically we'll have to wait 4 days for anything to happen here. And then we've got Bright Market. We do have, this is our drive at the moment, find a doctor, and I think it's indicating we can find one at Bright Market. Right, so we have a critical action. Ask for directions. Why wander when there are hundreds of people that live and work within the Bright Market? All you need is the courage to approach them. Or explore on our own. The smells, sounds and buzzing activity of the Bright Market makes it a dizzying place to wander, but an enticing one. And when we've kind of spent 3 dice, it doesn't... Sometimes you can get more than one segment, I think, with like a critical result. But when we've sort of got 3 of those, we'll know a bit more about the area. And this is our last one, so it comes down to what do we want to do. I mean, because this is a critical action and we have no chance of failing, mind you. Because neutral's a bad result, isn't it, for a dangerous action? I wish I could look that up. I think it is. If I click on it, does it tell me? Don't think there's something to explain it. So I think. Do we feel lucky, punk? We've basically got a 50% chance of success. I think I'm going to do it. Okay, so we got 2 local knowledge, which is good. But I think possibly because it was a neutral rather than a positive success, we actually lost 6 of our currency, 6 cryo for doing that. A man corners you with endless stories about the eye. He asks for a donation, and desperate to escape, you hand him some cryo. So we did pretty well doing that. This is a risky one. So we've got a 75% chance of it being alright, because I kind of want to save the 5. So let's see how we do here. We might fail. Oh, but we don't. Neutral outcome, so we get +1. So we filled up our local knowledge timer now. So what do we do? You manage to follow the flow of people, and you start to appreciate, even enjoy, the chaotic layout of the markets. What happens if I leave? Ah! Okay, so now we found some places in the market. So we found Sabine, the slum doctor. We've got Emphis, who's a food vendor. And an Ort exchange, hardware exchange. Don't think we can do much there. Let's go to the doctor, as that's our current drive. Hab block. Decaying habitation block. Next, comes the call from the enforcer at the door. You shuffle down the flickering hallway towards the open apartment door. You keep your head down and your shoulders high in the queue, trying not to bring attention to yourself. You were thankful for the tip-off that a doctor was operating out of this place. But now that you are here, you aren't so sure. The gang enforcer on the door, the flickering light strips, the decaying hab block, they've all made the long queue a test of your nerve. But your options are few, and without a supply of stabilizer, this body, your body, will... You suppress a shiver and shuffle forward to the front of the queue. You try to find something to distract yourself. Let's peer inside. You lean against the doorframe and look into the apartment. The entryway is dark, punctuated by the green indicators of stacks of sealed containers. You lean in and see amber light filtering through a far doorway, screened with plastic sheeting, beyond which blurred shapes move. The slap of the enforcer's palm against the doorway jerks you awake. Wait your turn, he growls. After a few moments, a figure pushes through the doorway, and you catch a distant voice. Send in the next one, Toshiro. The enforcer jerks his head and you slip inside, passing through the dark entryway and pushing through the plastic sheeting on the far door. The room beyond is bathed in warm light. A floor-to-ceiling transparent panel gives a full view of the Bright Market's sealed roof and the buzzing traffic above, and, for a moment, you are transfixed by the motion. So here we go, this is Sabine. Come sit, calls a sharp voice, and you see a silhouetted figure turned away, replacing the plastic sheeting over the frame of a simple folding bed. You make your way across the room. The figure turns, and as they do, you see an expression of confusion flash across their features. They open their mouth as if to speak. They blink and then quickly regain their composure. Oh, please sit. They gesture to the bed, then turn to an open case of tools on the table. You sit. Sabine turns, a compact diagnostic scanner of some kind in their hand. They hold it to their eye. Remain still, please. Their tone is clipped and businesslike. You stare ahead, still dazed from their expression when you first entered. Fear, recognition, sadness, all unmistakably etched across their face. How long have you been on the station? They ask, the scanner still to their eye. A few cycles? They nod. It's good you came to me. They set the diagnostic scanner on the table. I'm going to start by assuming you don't know anything. They take your arm and roll up your sleeve, inspecting your synthetic skin. Your body is dying. They say it without ceremony, without drama, but not without empathy. SNARP doesn't like to see its proprietary technology let loose. To prevent bodies like yours, frames as they call them, from being stolen, repurposed, or in your case, escaping, they built in a process of so-called planned obsolescence. Frames decay rapidly when not regularly injected with stabilizer, one which SNARP remains the sole producer of. They look up. Sound familiar? Yes. Good. That may help. They swap to your other arm, running some thin metal device over your skin. You feel your forearm tremble. I'm sorry, Sabine says, and you're unsure if they mean for the cold touch of the metal or for everything else. Emulations like you, sleepers, as most people know you, aren't classified as people in any of the surrogate systems. You have no rights, no status. They focus hard on the inspection of your arm. And SNARP has no reason to release stabilizer into the market. Sabine looks up as if to apologize again, but they stop themselves. I know little of this is of use to you. They turn away, disassembling the metal instrument and cleaning it. Silence fills the room as Sabine works, and then the silence gives way to tension. You stare at their back, willing them to say something. Anything. Sabine turns to face you. I may be able to help. They sigh, and you see the darkness under their eyes, hear the fatigue in their voice. They gesture to the door. You saw Toshiro outside? You nod. He works for my benefactor, Yatagan. They are influential in the low end. They give me the space to work, run the door, and take the profits. At the same time, I have to fix up their enforcers, tend to their implants, and sew up their wounds. They look away. But Yatagan has connections, smugglers from the Starwood Belt, mercenaries working for the corporations on Ember. If they can source the stabilizer, maybe you'll have a better chance. Sabine sets down their slate, their notes complete. This is dangerous, and it'll be expensive, but I think we can do it. Why help me? Sabine walks away to the window, their face dappled by the shadows of passing drones. Let's just see if this works first. I'll let you know when I have a lead. You nod and leave, Sabine still staring out, unmoving. When you reach the lower level of the market, you look back up through the panels of the roof to see if you can see their face, but the room looks dark against the lights of the market. You duck your head and walk off into the crowd. There we go. So Sabine, the doctor, is probably going to spend about... we can click on it, maybe. Maybe we can influence how long it takes. I don't think we can. We've got to wait a few cycles for Sabine to source the knowledge that we need to find some stabilizer. Let's start off by popping over to see Emphis at the food stall. Emphis is busy, his broad face uplit by the makeshift gas burner in front of him. With precise, delicate movements, he lays thick chunks of marinated fungus into a dented wok, his other hand idly tossing a metal bowl of sliced vegetables in some red fleck dressing. The smell is incredible. You watch as he fulfills a set of orders, heaping the fungus with the bright salad and depositing it in plastic trays. A stack of chits rattles in his apron pocket as customers file past the burner, handing over payment. We'll approach. We're going to want to buy food off him. You join the queue. It's mostly made of off-duty salvages, vac suits unzipped and rolled down to expose stained vests, grubby mods, a lattice of scars and tattoos. They discuss the best food on the eye, the best drink, comparing notes on bright market dives, their words cut through with heavy spacer slang. Eventually it's your turn, and you shuffle to the front. Emphis speaks in a deep, even tone without looking up. First try is free. Thank him. The smell is almost unbearably strong as he cooks, the earthiness of the fungus laced with something so spicy the smoke makes your eyes water. The heat from the burner is like a bonfire, and your skin hardens in its glare. I know you sleepers, Emphis says while he cooks, his voice deep but clear. A hard line, a lot of stories. He glances up from beneath his cap with piercing eyes. I know. We could tell him a story. You begin to tell him about your journey to the eye, and he nods as he cooks, his eyes never leaving his work. You tell him of the confusion, the pain, but also the sense of possibility, and its sudden arrival. You tell him of the cold and dark of the container, and the endless cycle spent within it. Now it seems, you tell him, like some dream that you once had, but can never forget. You tell him that the eye excites you and scares you, and you are unsure where to walk, where to look, what to do. Eventually you tail off, running out of words. He places a plastic tray of steaming fungus in your hand. Next time we can talk some more, he smiles. But next time, you pay. He slams a heavy hand against a button on the burner's side and it shuts off. The roar of the flame and its impressive heat fades. Next time then, sleeper. He waves you away and begins to oil the wok. Before you turn back to the alley, you notice the geometric patterns of circular scars across his forearms. I mean, these are his upper arms, but I guess this is the sort of thing we're talking about. Maybe those. Each surrounded with a constellation of glinting pin marks. Yeah, it could be that. You walk away, and as you do, you take a bite of the rich, spicy, delicately sweet fungus. Your taste sensors light up like a fusion reactor. You'll be back. Emphis is someone we're going to spend a lot of time with. So we've got a new drive, which is get to know Emphis. We'll look at these now. So build a ship mind is one of our things. You've heard talk of a fabricator owned by the Ort Exchange. With that and a few fragments, you could build a ship mind core. Okay. Get to know Emphis. Emphis loves two things, stories and food. Maybe if you supply him with both, you can hear his story. Repay Dragos. So yeah, we've got to help repay off Dragos's debt and survive. So wait for Sabine to find the stabilizer thing. No completed drives yet, obviously. If we were to click on Emphis' stall again, we can buy more. But I don't have enough money. That's going to cost 15 cryo a hit. We'll go to the auto exchange, see what's here. So we need to, like the shipyard, we've got to kind of get to trusted status to kind of know what to do a bit more here. I can sell components. I don't have any components, but we could play the exchange. The flow of chits and components in the exchange is complex, but a sharp eye and some tight trades can net you a good margin. So this is a way of making money, I think. So this might possibly do that. Money's good. Have a look at the rotunda. Because I think, like with the market, we want to be able to know our way around some of the things that are here. So I think I've got 5. There's a 50% chance of losing energy, or yeah, okay. I think what I'm going to do is put that in this one instead and see how we get on. Positive outcome. So we've added 2 things to our ticker, which is good, but I've run out of dice now, so I can't do anything more here at this point. However, our energy's high, but I haven't found a way to improve my condition. Got something. Oh. Even though we haven't finished exploring it, a couple of things have opened up. So let's check out Nikita. Oh, it's Ankita. Sorry, I couldn't see their full name when it was on the other screen. Yeah, Ankita, a stranded mercenary. Hey you want to win a chat? Ankita stands behind a huge pile of tied together hull plates. She stretches out her back, her shoulders bulging beneath her flight suit. Make it 2. Ankita laughs. This goddamn station. She sighs and pinches the bridge of her nose. Alright, come here then. You cross the docking concourse as she begins to split the plating into 2 bundles. What is it with this place? She asks as she angrily lashes the massive plates together. Everyone wants their cut. She straightens up to an imposing height, her armor plates creaking, and looks you up and down. Or is it just that you all think I'm an easy mark? Just say we all need to survive. Ankita softens. I get it, I do. She shakes her head. But if I could just go one cycle without some jumped up grifter trying to take me for an idiot, that would be nice. Ankita hoists 1 bundle of plating onto her shoulder. Come on then, enough chat, you gotta earn those chits. You struggle to shoulder the plates, but you do eventually. Ankita gives you a look. Ship's this way. And she sets off down a gantry at an impressive speed. As you catch up to her, she turns down a passage, pushing through a small crowd of stevedores. What's all this for? Oh, this. She nods at the plates on her back. I'm building a treehouse. She gives you another one of her looks. As for the ambergris, that cutter you might have seen sitting silent out there. She rapidly turns another corner as you trail behind. She got cut up pretty bad on our last job, and I had to moor up here for a spell. But since then, it's only gotten worse. Someone got in and sliced the core from our ship mind, so now she's gone dark. She shifts the panels on her shoulder. The upshot is that I'm short one ship mind with a ton of repairs to do, and the rest of the crew signed off the moment they got wind I'd been stranded. So yeah, it's been a time. Anything I can do to help? I don't know, got a ship mind tucked away on that frame of yours. For a moment you aren't sure if she is serious. Ankita swings the plates from her back, almost knocking you over in the process. This is me. She hauls the second bundle off your shoulder. You're the first person I've met here who might actually be considered helpful. She pauses, chewing her bottom lip. Look, you want to help? Come see me. I need a hand putting amber back together, and you don't seem like the type to try anything stupid. She passes the bundles of plates through the ambergris's outer lock, and then turns back. Just don't go spreading all this around. Ankita throws you a couple of chits. She gives you a parting nod and ducks through the doorway. All right, get out of here. She calls back, and the lock slams shut. Yeah, you got 2 credits. It's not much, but it's something. So we could go back to the ambergris, and we have tasks here we can do. We don't have any dice, so we can't do them now, but basically we can try to help her rewire drones. We actually have a +1 on this, so if we had a 5, that would be a near guaranteed success, I think. Basically a guaranteed success. Or help her repair the hull. But as I said, we can't do either of those things yet. Let's check out the overlook bar. Right, so we can do things here that cost money. We can buy rations. I don't know if that's something we can save. I think it has an immediate effect. So we're at full energy, so don't really want to do that. You're unsure if your frame can metabolize alcohol, but this fungal drink, fermented along the greenway, seems like a good test. Get a drink. So again, if we become a regular, it will open up other options. But I've only got 11 credits. I'm not that keen to pretty much spend all of those right now. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it for what we can do now. So we're going to return home to the empty container. We're going to end our cycle. See what dice we get. Hopefully good ones. We're only going to get 3 dice, I think, because our energy dropped below that threshold. This time you don't wake up. Instead, the ghost of the station, that shifting skeletal ring, surrounds you. For a moment you are gone, absent from your own body, stretched out across a colourless void. Then the connections begin to establish themselves, threads tugging on the edge of your mind. These threads become vectors of exchange and then extensions as you feel your thoughts slipping away down them, dissolving into the millions of distributed nodes they connect to. You see the station. No, you feel the station, like a web of texture in a smooth black liquid. Touch it. You find a point in the station and you connect to it, pulse through it, follow loops and paths under and around it. You touch more points than you have fingers, and then you try, in a moment of impulsiveness, to connect them. The flow passes through you so rapidly that you feel yourself being carried with it, splitting and separating, eddying and gathering. As you do, things occur to you, things that you can't possibly know. You reach out, try to grasp them, try to touch them too. You notice a tugging feeling pulling at you, insistently, as if it were a small child. Somehow it is pulling in 2 directions at once. You look down. All of a sudden, everything shuts off. You come back trembling into this unfamiliar body, both yours and not yours, all at once. You find yourself standing in the container, eyes now open to the dark steel walls. You feel a change within you, a shift. You close your eyes for a second and you feel it waiting there, the station splayed out across your mind, a storm of connective nodes waiting to be explored, and then it is gone. Oh, we rolled well, a 6, a 5 and a 4. Very nice. Alright, so that was a little confusing, I suppose, but what it basically is there's going to be sort of 2 levels to this station. We've got kind of the physical level here, where all the stuff that we've already explored and started to explore is, and then there's kind of the network level of the station, which is it'll be introduced to us probably quite soon, but basically we can enter kind of the computer system of the station and activate nodes and get intel and open up new areas. And that's kind of where the 1s and 2s come into effect, because a lot of the activities on the network level require low dice like that. So it's quite a nice way of, if like on a day like today, or a cycle like this cycle where I've rolled high, I'm going to try and do physical skills, especially challenging ones. But for instance, on a day if I've, say, rolled a 1, 2 and a 3, I might think, right, I'm going to head to the network level and I'm going to try and unlock a few of the things that I've got outstanding there. So nothing is ever really wasted. You know, even a low roll is useful, and I like that. I think that's good. But I think we're probably going to leave it there for this first episode. As you can probably tell from my voice, I think I explained it on some of the videos I published yesterday that recently recovering from a recent bad bug, and it's a very throaty, chesty one. So a game like this, where there's a lot of reading, it sort of does take it out a little bit. So we'll leave it there. But videos may sort of get longer in the future, but I think probably this is a good place to end this one. So I hope you've enjoyed this first episode of Citizen Sleeper. If you did, please do hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment. Have you played the game? Do you like it? Have you not played it, but are intrigued by what you've seen so far? Let me know. And lastly, subscribe to the channel if you've not done so before, because that would be absolutely amazing. So thanks very much, and I'll hope to see you next time. Bye for now.